Welcome, everyone. Our topic today is the nonprofit job board called JHU Students Save the Day. Now, we have a strategic goal in mind, which is to launch a job board website called JHU Students Save the Day, known hereon as JHU SSD, to connect students nearing graduation in Johns Hopkins Corporate and Nonprofit Communication Program with nonprofit organizations hiring recent graduates. Now, our primary audience here is Masters of Communication students at Hopkins who are specializing in corporate and nonprofit communications nearing graduation. In this case, we mean nearing graduation to mean that they've completed 8 out of the 10 required courses or they're filing to graduate. But there's also a secondary audience at play here, which is the nonprofit organizations looking to hire recent graduates of a master's program that's really focused on nonprofit communication. And we feel that this offers great synergy with Johns Hopkins because Hopkins gets to attach its name to successful graduates working in the nonprofit sector, and it ensures confidence and trust from alumni of the program. Now, we do have a great strategic communication plan at work. Our first strategy utilizes direct emails and really makes JHU SSD the perfect resource for finding your dream job in the nonprofit sector. And what that means is that there's numerous industry-leading nonprofits that are looking to hire students, and they'll know that the best resource to do that is on JHU SSD. Now, this is a great opportunity for students to network with nonprofits, but also to network with each other. And it's a really unique opportunity to find work in the nonprofit sector. Our next strategy is utilizing Adobe Connect webinar and Google Hangout and gives Hopkins students monthly interactive lectures from leaders in the nonprofit industry to share their experience. Now, this gives students a chance to meet with industry leaders who could be a potential employer, as well as just learn about the field from a real-world perspective. And it gives nonprofits an opportunity to share their perspectives on what makes a good employee. Now, our next strategy utilizes a live web chat forum, and it really gives students the chance on JHU SSD, a network of peers, advisors, and professors to make you a viable candidate in the job search. So we're going to offer the best resources for students who are hunting for nonprofit jobs, and it gives you access to other students as well as professional advising on what works, what doesn't, how to build the best resume, how to really nail that interview, and how to network in the nonprofit sector. We believe that valuable career knowledge can be shared from students and their peers interfacing. And finally, we're going to utilize blog posts to share some of the success stories from JHU SSD. So there are students in the field who will benefit from this program, and we really want to give them a chance to showcase how this exclusive job board helped them out and give feedback to current site users as well. Now, a little bit more about us, our executive summary. We want to totally transform the nonprofit concentration at Hopkins. We'll give students a chance to learn about nonprofits, and the partnership with Johns Hopkins really gives students that gateway into getting a job that will create an impact in the field. There is a gap currently between grad students and the organizations who are hiring. The information can be confusing and chaotic, and we really want to give those students a chance to have a forum and a resource to find out what they need to know and what they can do better to really get that job in the nonprofit sector. Now, there's some research that we found that shows that students who work in the nonprofit sector are more engaged with their work than those who work in for-profit. And we found that graduates who felt supported by their alma mater are 6 times likelier to be emotionally attached to it. So you can really see how that relationship between Johns Hopkins and its students in the program can flourish. Now, a little bit more about us. It is co-founded by a producer and a journalist, and we feel that our unique experience gives us a perspective that we understand nonprofit work and we understand students too, and we really want to connect the bright minds that are working at Johns Hopkins to pursue their degree with opportunities in the nonprofit sector as well. Now, just a couple case studies here. The first is ujoin.us. It's a Chinese website that provides college students with internships at nonprofit organizations. And, the site has a really great design. It's clear in terms of aesthetics, but it's pretty small in terms of actually finding resources. There's only about 25 organizations that are on board, so we not only want to create an aesthetically pleasing site, but we want to provide students access to more jobs and more organizations on both a paid and unpaid scale. Our second case study is Idealist, which is one of the biggest nonprofit job boards in the U.S. It features over 100,000 organizations, which is great, and it has 1.4 million visitors monthly. But it can be really hard to search for a job on there, and we want to correct that function with JHU SSD. We also want to touch on the point that their site does cost money for the nonprofits as well as the students to use, and we really think that providing a free resource for students is the best way to get them to be involved and to get nonprofits to want to recruit these students as well. Taking a look at our budget, you can see that it's just over $40,000. We've reflected a 5-year partnership with Johns Hopkins here, and you can see that most of the costs will actually not pertain to Hopkins. A lot of the components of the program that we feel are unique, such as digital lectures, resume critique, that kind of feedback can all be provided for free. The only real costs is we do want to invest in having a part-time coordinator to answer student questions and really filter out the students who aren't interested from those who need the information most. And we also, of course, have some costs associated with hosting a website, but we have done a search for what could be a great deal, and we really feel that instead of just putting together a collaboration for 1 year, that extending this over 5 is the best way to see costs, really provide their intended purpose. And just going into our strategy a little bit more, we feel that Johns Hopkins Students Save the Day can be a great resource for students to really take their degree to the next level. It'll reinforce the relationship between Hopkins and its students and give students not only a positive perception of the program and its practicality, but of the concentration too, and really get to transform the invaluable knowledge they've gotten in their degree into the real world sector. And we want to evaluate our success on several different levels. First, we feel that it's hard to set a numerical goal for student enrollment, as enrollment in the corporate and nonprofit communication program itself can vary. But as long as it doesn't drastically drop off and as long as students do seem engaged, we do consider that a success. Even if a couple great minds are able to find amazing opportunities they wouldn't find elsewhere, we see that that could be, a really worthwhile resource for students of the program. Next, we want to increase enrollment in the concentration too. So hopefully knowing that there's this amazing job board out there will encourage more students to join. And finally, we want to get positive feedback from students. Even though it's not quantitative, we feel that this qualitative resource is really, really important for evaluating how well this program works for students. And we also want to get that feedback from you at Johns Hopkins as well. We understand that Students Save the Day can't be run in a bubble, and we're really dedicated to getting that feedback from those in the program to see, are our students networking? Are they networking with each other? Are they connecting with nonprofits? And are we really serving our purpose here? So thank you for your time. We hope that you will consider JHU SSD. We would love to help students of Hopkins save the day beyond their educational opportunities and transfer that into the real world as well.